a bit of a change of scenery, but we are live and it's been a while. And I want to take the time to ask you to subscribe and, of course, drop a like on the video. We'll be talking about Maguire's blasted comments that probably will upset the dressing room and more so Ten Hag. And we'll be talking about Fabrizio speaking about potential January transfer business for Manchester United. So let's get into it. Maguire, yet again, an absolutely disgraceful type of captain that he is. Me, myself, would like him to be stripped of the captaincy. There's no way he can still be the club captain after what has been said and after his performances. I mean, even forgetting about last season, just this season alone, when he's played, we've lost. And when he's come on from the bench, we've looked defensively shaky. The players look nervous. The players probably don't want to play with him. And the comments that he has made via Mark Ogden of ESPN is absolutely damning on him as a person, but as a player, and even more so as our supposed club captain. Imagine the likes of Varane, De Gea, and the rest of the team reading what has been said, and then on top of it, having to be okay with it. Come back to training when we have to prepare for a huge Manchester derby, and they honestly just do not want to listen and hear such absolute atrocities from a player who supposedly, as portrayed by the public UK media, a saint, a wonderful player, a wonderful man, a wonderful teammate. But this doesn't show. And I want to get into the comments for you just a few moments now. And it's simple. It says sources have said that Maguire's frustrations with David De Gea's communication and reluctance to defend further away from his goal line were also a factor in the overall melee in defense last season. How is that possible? How can he blame De Gea for his poor performances, for his lack of being of standard of playing for Manchester United as a centre back, let alone a captain? It's absolutely abysmal. The fact that he is blame shifting, as I said in the thumbnail, that it's their fault that he hasn't performed well. Yes, De Gea is not the best goalkeeper coming off his line. We know this. We know he doesn't come for crosses as many other goalkeepers do. But the main factor is there's a lot of goals that we've conceded because of Maguire's mistakes that leaves De Gea in no man's land. Look at the goal against Atletico that João Felix gets. Maguire lost his man. You look at the goal against Leicester City where Tielemans chipped De Gea to the far post. Maguire was loose on the ball and basically allowed us to be shaky in defense. You look at the goal that Vardy scored. He was nowhere to be seen. So Maguire blaming De Gea is absolutely dreadful, disgraceful. How can he blame the goalkeeper that has won more things for Manchester United than what he ever will? He needs to leave. He needs to get out of the club because there's no way he can still be at Manchester United next season. I don't want him to be our captain. I don't want the players to have to listen to him or follow him. If this is not him that's saying this, then clearly it has to be someone close to him, a family member, an agent, a player that might know him, speaking to Mark Ogden. It is insane to think that there are still leaks coming out, and Ten Hag and the club spoke about this before the season started and said that this is something that they would not want again and won't allow it to happen. But here we are, more leaks, and from someone who's supposedly our club captain. Furthermore, it says that Harry hasn't had a good 12 months. This is now Mark Ogden speaking. Harry hasn't had a good 12 months, but he hasn't been helped by those around him, coaches or players. So it's inevitable that his confidence and form have suffered. Harry needs pace around him, which is true, but he hasn't had that. Now that is a lie. Mark Ogden continues to say if you put Ruben Diaz in United's defense and Harry in the City back four, Diaz would struggle and Harry would thrive. I'm sorry, what? How is that even remotely true? There's no way that Harry Maguire would excel in a City back line that plays a high line, and with the type of football that they play, I don't think he would perform there. You can't just say that Diaz coming to United, he would struggle. We'd be a much better team if we had Ruben Diaz. Imagine Ruben Diaz next to Rafael Varane. A world-class centre-back partnership already would develop. Look at Martinez and Varane. Quality, they complement each other. And Maguire simply has always been the weak link. You could even say this when he played with Lindelof. They looked shaky. Now, there were games where Maguire and Lindelof did well, but Maguire was never ever of a standard to play for Manchester United. I don't even think we should have signed him. An 80 million flop, in my opinion. And now speaking like this behind the players' backs, if it's not him, he definitely has to come out and say something about it. He surely has to say, you know what, this isn't me. I am dealing with the person that has said this, and I would not have said this. This is not what I stand for, and this is not my personality. If he doesn't come out and say anything, then it's clear that this is what he has been thinking and publicly has put it out there. He's okayed the media to go ahead and say this. And that is only going to be damning and detrimental to his Manchester United career. I don't think he will be starting for Ten Hag in any of the matches that are important. I think he's probably going to be resorted to Europa League appearances, Carabao Cup and FA Cup appearances against lower opposition. No disrespect to them, but Maguire will not be starting for Manchester United. And that's a fact in my book. And I definitely 100% believe that he should not start again for Manchester United and definitely should not be given at any given stance the captaincy. Again, this crap that he comes on in the last 2 minutes and takes the captaincy of Bruno is crap. If he's saying these type of things in the media, he doesn't deserve to be Manchester United captain, let alone captain of any club. Because this is not the way you speak behind your teammates' backs. You don't stab them in the back when your performances are being critiqued. If you are not able to withstand and handle fair criticism on your bad performances, then your mentality is clearly not strong enough for Manchester United. And that is why you are on the bench. That is why you cannot win your place back in the team, because you are not good enough. And now blaming De Gea, Varane, and every other teammate that you have is absolutely disgraceful. I don't believe that you should be a captain. You cannot be Manchester United captain. And if we do play City and he does come on in the second half, he shouldn't be given the captain's armband. Because Bruno, when he has started as captain, we are unbeaten with him as captain. And I'm sure if you put Ronaldo as captain, the players will follow suit because he is a winner. He's got a winning mentality. When Maguire comes on, our defense looks shaky. They look scared, nervous, because they have to compensate for his lack of pace, his lack of intelligence, and his lack of being able to move with quick agility. So I don't think Maguire has a very, very long future at Manchester United. I think, in my opinion, this could potentially be his last season at the club. Moving along in terms of players having their last seasons at the club, Fabrizio Romano on YouTube spoke about Manchester United and the January transfer window and said that because of last season's, shall I say, transfer failing in the January window with the likes of Vlahovic, Dennis Zakaria, Julian Alvarez, all going to other clubs, City and Juventus respectively, is players that Rangnick recommended to the club. We could have had a Vlahovic. We could have had a Julian Alvarez leading the line for Ten Hag, perhaps competing with Martial or Ronaldo. But the club chose not to pursue anyone in January, using an excuse of, oh, we're going to spend in the summer. And look where we find ourselves in the summer. We didn't sign a striker, and we could have signed a striker. Nunez went to Liverpool. That failed. We should have then attacked a Sesko, but we didn't. And now Ten Hag, after the game that we played against Sheriff Tiraspol, said that we are going to look at the January window to bring in players to strengthen the team. He did say that we'll also be having meetings with regards to discussing this. Now, the club have said that they won't be spending in January, but I'm sure Ten Hag will be pushing to spend in January. whether that be by any sales that get made or if money is made available for him. There are players that can be available, the likes of Ivan Toney in the UK media, got his first England call up, is being said to be linked to us as an option in January to come in as a striker. You look at Griezmann, who the Spanish media are pushing to leave the club because of his financial situation at Atletico and being on loan from Barcelona. Can we go in for him? Perhaps we can. Perhaps we cannot. But I wouldn't want Griezmann personally. He's not the player that he was. He's 30 years old. I think he's a bit lost in his footballing career at the moment. And I don't think he's the type of player that will come in and elevate our attacking line if we should be going for him. And you also look at another player that potentially can come in and do a job for us is a player I'm struggling to get to his name, Cody Gakpo. Sorry, yes. How could I have forgotten Cody Gakpo? A player with quality at PSV Eindhoven who we can look to get because Ten Hag sees him as a potential striker, someone who we can convert from a winger to a striker. That's what he's doing with Rashford. I think he's wanting Rashford to be an out-and-out number 9 who's able to link up play but also get him behind really quickly. And we see that in Rashford's development that he is better coming on from the left, attacking the inside. But if Ten Hag sees him as a striker and sees that he can work on his game and make him a striker, then we have to trust the coaching process because Ten Hag has proven to improve young players and players with top quality potential. So we can have business in January, but it will be dependent on whether the club will allow money for Ten Hag to be spent. And if there are players that can be sold in January, maybe permanent deals for Eric Bailly can be made, for him going to Marseille. So there is options for us in January, but it depends if these options are available, if there is an opportunity. And Fabrizio Romano basically said it quite clearly. He said in January, Manchester United, will go for a striker only if they find the right one. So only if we find the right one will a striker be coming into Manchester United. Martial continuously has injury problems. Will he start against City, be on the bench, at least after coming back from an injury, is still something that we'll have to wait and see in next week. And of course, will Ronaldo start against City? We don't know. Will his lack of pace be a decision for Ten Hag to make in the Manchester derby? And if not him, if not Martial, does he go with Rashford again up front and play with Sancho and Anthony on the wings? But we'll definitely speak about a City preview when we get closer to that particular match. It is international break, and we have to just face these international games, and hopefully there is some good football. Speaking of international games, Scott McTominay played last night for Scotland against Ukraine and had a decent performance. And it is clear why Ten Hag continues to start him and where he has improved in midfield under Erik Ten Hag. But guys, subscribe to the channel, please. Thank you for joining me in today's video. We'll definitely be speaking soon again. Have a wonderful day further. That is it, me, Session, your host from Red Devils Talk. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye, Red Devils.